already killed you. You were already dead. You didn't have a pulse.
Oh, you never do blood before? Sometime your heart start up again. Read a book.
Look, I'm sorry. We're just having a bad day.
Oh, you're having a bad day? Did you die?
I got shot.
But did you die?
Ciao.
Howdy, party people. All right. So let's go over this very, very interesting chart. All right. Many things going on. Let me start off by this. Now, we had a huge drop on Thursday, came on Friday actually. So we had the same thing happen in July. It was off by a day. So I think keep that in mind at all times. And it's very possible that the actual market is lagging by a day, which would make Monday a little lower, which kind of plays into my scenario here. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, I think we have CPI. Let me double check that. So a bounce here. But, okay. I was speaking with Doug on the phone today, which was awesome. And I kind of shared my thoughts about this. What happens to retail when you have a down day like this? Everybody makes a lot of money. What do the market makers do? They, it's always about psychology, right? They're gonna want this money back. They're not gonna do it with a big rip straight out the gate. They're gonna do what they do best, which is go sideways. So let's take a look at the US 500, or I can do it on SPX too. We have a massive volume shelf here. We spent, that was a reject zone initially in early June. Remember, we had that big sell, then we came back and we spent, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in there. Then we crapped out and then we gapped over that. Okay, so this is the gap that should be on every OK trader's screen, right? Now again, this is a massive zone. And I'm going to show you a few things today that I think are worth taking in. Obviously, we lost our fuckery line last week with a big gap down. This is the gap that we've rejected once, and we're kind of that. This was my price target on Friday when the sell came. I was 5 points away there. Thankfully, I started scaling out, not really fast enough, and we all know that I was in puts in 552s and 447s and kind of sold them too fast, but it happens. So as with gaps, there's definitely a possibility that we just crap out and we fill the gap. However, I don't know, this is a gut feeling again. I have a feeling that we bounce off of this gap whenever, maybe if we don't do it on Monday, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, and we go up and then we crap out and fill the gap. I'm looking at a few different models that suggest that we do fill this gap either on Monday or Thursday. All right, Monday or Thursday. And after that, there's going to be a relief bounce here. Our chart shows it. A bunch of data that I'm looking at shows it, midweek, and then a retest to see again if somewhere in the vicinity of this gap, if it holds. Okay, so broader picture, what's going on is, and I told Doug the same. I was able from a friend of mine to receive dark pool data that this guy was able to pull pre-market on Friday. Okay? Now, this dark pool data showed that right before the market opened, okay, this is Friday, you see these were the dark pool prints, okay, they went all the way down to 447. That is why, and I'll pull it up in a second, you see no dark pool on this. This is pure flow based. That's why the sell-off was so heavy and hard, and why no levels. Look at this. This is a huge level, but they had already undercut it. So this support level here and here were already gone. Now it's kind of dangerous to obviously look at these beforehand, because, you know, had I been like, okay, it's going to 447 guaranteed, I might have shorted here. Obviously that would have been a good short. We bought the dip here and caught all this whole move. But you know, if you're at 453 almost and someone's telling you that, oh yeah, in a few hours we're gonna be down here in 446, you're like, well, that needs a big news event. And the only news we got right here was that JP Morgan does not see a recession, right? And we sold. That was probably just a cue for the market makers to dump it. But overall, we all know that Apple has been used by the PPT or whomever to pump this market. Now, you look at their earnings and you're like, okay, well, you know, how can the price be so inflated when, you know, the last 3 quarters have just been down? So you had a situation on Friday after Amazon's earnings where clearly this was pumped up and held really hard because Apple had bad earnings, and it was holding for a while, and it was even looking like, you know, they might be doing something here. You know, the TTM came in, everything was, we got some green divergence, and obviously we know that we then fell from the sky, and we had that exit liquidity earnings move up to this level. Everything was sold, boom, and then they held it for a few until they dumped it. So they are, I mean, this chart, it doesn't get worse than this, and that's why we gotta watch on Monday what the move here is, because obviously this gap here will fill. When, I mean, we already got a pretty good move filling this gap, and then people are gonna come in to buy. That will generate the rebound in the rest of the market. There is nothing in between Apple's 100 and 200 moving average on the daily. I doubt we go here right now. I'm sure Apple will see this gap fill in October, but right now the closest would be this. Now, logic says that we keep selling, but then, you know, you look at the finer details. Let me just show you SPY here, and you will see that, I mean, here, see that volume candle compared to the rest of the day? It is absolutely huge. I've also, I don't know if you might want to try this. This looked kind of cool to me. Volume direction candles. Again, looking for something that kind of help me with direction sometimes. One thing I had said that is very good to look at, another detail thing is, you know, the STO can only go so high, right? It can't go past 100, right? And if you look at the chart here on the 1 hour, for instance, and you see every time it hits 100, that's where we reversed. That's where we reversed. you know, again, very toppy, and then it has to go down. Now look again here, we're coming up here. This is the big seller, right? Another clock in at 100. This is something to keep in mind, right? The Stow is very good if you haven't applied it yet. So again, it can't go higher than 100, right? So all of you watch that. Okay? Now, as far as the chart, also it makes sense that, you know, here we are, right here somewhere, could still dip down a little bit, have that rebound, come and test it, and then rally. Sorry, here, the patterns are identical. We're here somewhere, or here. Small rebound, retest, and then that's kind of choppy, but it is definitely by the dip. Now, I have spoken with two guys that I think are really, really amazing. And they are kind of in the same boat that we should see a bottom this coming week. How low? That all depends, but you know, there's only a few candidates. Candidates being again, where's SPX? Here. Candidate being this gap. So, you know, for me, I would pop it up from here, come up and, you know, retest, you know, 449, 440, and then feel the gap before a rally. That's how I would play it. Will they play it that way? I don't know. So, what do we got going on? We got Fed speakers back this week. We got Japanese data. We got Chinese data. This is going to be big. So lots of after hours moves. Obviously, this week, where is it? Here. Thursday, pre-market CPI. Now, a lot of data that I'm looking at shows that that could be the bottom, could be wicking and doing all kinds of stuff, but it does look like that zone around 4,400, whether it be below it or a little above it, is going to be a good zone to long, right? So that's what I'll be looking at. Right now, this year is tracking this chart exceptionally well. It looks like a few other years, 1955 and 1989, both have a dip, you know, this week. Some show that the bottom could be on the 10th. Again, if the 10th, our chart shows that the 10th is the bottom, but our chart can also be one day below. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, if we feel that gap, but we should have a pop midweek, whether it's prior or after CPI. That's what we really got to keep an eye out this week. Now, while the market was tanking, we had a engulfing daily candle, almost took out 2 days on the 10-year yield. Now, the more this can come down, the stock market should then rebound. Why did this come down while, you know, oil was absolutely flying, didn't even sell off that bad on Friday? With the Dixie not really putting on that much gain from, you know, what it had lost earlier. Well, there's only one explanation, and it's not news. It's fairly simple, in my opinion, and that is the whole Apple saga, right? You cannot push a vehicle further when the tires are done, the engine's done, this and that. So let's look here at, let's also look at Apple, okay? So, see that? Glitch, okay? But that's not what I wanted to show you. What I wanted to show you was this, that this dark pool, that's moving stuff into Amazon clearly, just to kind of hold it up. But we have no real dark pool buys since July 21st. We got a few dips. See how they're like, if you correlate with QQQ here, they're propping it up, they're propping it up. There's nothing there, right? They haven't started buying, okay? However, this is not a glitch. This is that volume candle I showed you. This is them coming in and stopping the bleed, all right? But it didn't exceed that. On QQQ, see, I always do that so I can make sure what is a glitch and what is not. They haven't swooped in yet, okay? Therefore, I think that they're going to, I'm going to be looking at that predominantly on Monday. What are they going to do here? What vehicle are they going to use? What sectors are they going to use? The market should have a bounce here. Again, I'm showing you this on SPX. The gap on SPX, 4,464, all the way down to 44444. That's a nice even number, right? You know, for you guys who follow numerics and all of that, I'm sure you know what I mean. Okay. They're resetting all of this. Now, this here shows me that we need a little lower, in my opinion. We're close to a bottom. Everything needs to kind of bottom out. Now, this is the most interesting thing, in my opinion, of this whole video. You ready? All right. Again, that trend line absolutely insane, rejects every freaking time, but it will go higher and higher and higher. That's key here. But what I wanted to show you on this video was I wanted to highlight the RSI. All right, let's do daily. It's even better. All right. So what's the lowest the RSI can go here? 13, in my opinion. That would probably put us, again, probably here at that 444 level. It can undercut it a little bit. But as you can see, every time, ever since, you know, even that October low, the RSI was actually higher than it is right now on the daily. So I'm gonna be on the lookout for, you know, 20 on the daily RSI sounds like a nice even number. Or a little sub 24, that could give it a slight little bounce and then come down and retest it before a rally. And that rally obviously is this here. And what's this target? Well, that target could be, again, there's a couple of good guesstimates here. It could be the gap that we rejected on Friday, or we could even test highs. All right, I will buy if we can get close to 460 here in the third week of August. I will be buying puts a few days out. I've already put in all the alerts, all that. September and October, as you can see, volatility will be back. I think it will be back soon also, just because of how the VIX was acting. And you know, a reminder again, this is where I said the VIX wants it, and I'll look on the VIX on the 10-minute too. Like for instance here, I was like, okay, just cross that. It has no resistance anymore, except then I jumped to the 15-minute and I was like, okay, that's the last line. And as you can see, as soon as it got above that 15-minute, boom, freakish, crazy big candle. Obviously capped here at a very important level. Okay. So this will probably want to come retest this level once we get our crazy move, right? That's what I'm looking at this week. I know that there's a bunch of earnings. This whole shit show interests me because it's gonna have a move one way or another, and earnings and all that good stuff. Here's another model that I've shown you guys before, that we have a new range, right? When we came into this new range. And as you can see, it needs a double tap of the bottom. That's, as you can see, the lowest it goes, or we will go in this new range to the end of the year, is that low here. So that's why when I'm saying, you know, sub 412 this year is highly unlikely. In my opinion. So you can screenshot that or check it out. It's pretty good to have. Here you can also see the turn. Everything sold off hard, but look at this KRE, for instance, still above 48. Isn't that something, right? I still think that's an insane play for the end of the year. It's very crazy, you know, when, I mean, I caught this move for 150 points, right? When it was down 10% on the day. That's absolutely crazy. That was a pan sell-off. Did pretty much not a lot to Amazon. But I like Doug's thinking about, you know, all these earnings, if we're going to have a pullback here, to kind of monitor them for the downside. As far as SQQ, look, you saw that dump. Sure, it was pretty crazy, but again, and this is the problem with pro shares. You can kind of day trade them, but will this ever see, you know, 69? I doubt it. Not for a long time. And for instance, Visa only did a round trip with a huge candle at the end there. So everything didn't sell off. I mean, look, U is above 40. So NVIDIA, great example. It was just range bound. While SPY and QQQ absolutely puked. Qualcomm finished up 2% on the day. So what I'm saying is they're doing not a rotation, they're restructuring this market and how they're gonna play it. And next week I'm gonna be really focused on, and also QQQ has this gap. I'm gonna be focused on how they react to these gaps. I'm gonna be looking, are we gonna get a bounce on that? It'll be very telling if we wick down and get out of the bounce, because then on Thursday I wouldn't expect more than a retest of the gap or the volume shelf. If we bounce off the gap, I would expect later in the week after a relief bounce for us to wick into it. Okay? Two very crucial, the most important things this week, in my opinion. Now, I want to again look at SPY here on that sell-off, and I want to look at it on the 5-minute chart. Where are you? So, usually, we don't see sharp spikes like this on the volume chart. Okay, they're a little bit more faint. This is like hardcore selling, big time. I think they're gonna try to subdue this selling. That's why we got that volume into close. I'm gonna be monitoring Monday, seeing what vehicle they're gonna use. Again, our chart can be off by a day or two. I'm gonna catch this relief bounce. We're gonna see what level, and this is also a clue here. Whatever level we stop at for the relief bounce this week, you can see here, whenever we go over it, we're gonna have a failed breakdown and then a huge day. So all things to keep in mind, not the easiest market. I spoke to Doug about this on the phone as well, and I'm gonna show it to you. You guys remember Thursday, I took 115 points here, but to prove or to kind of nail home my point here, I did it in 3 trades. This is not a market where you want to sit very long. You want to have a smaller position. You want to get the move. You don't want to be sitting in this. This is just stop loss hunting right here, and then fake moves. You need confirmation. Now here's a great example of how patience pays. This is exactly the same move that happened on Friday. Look at the time here on it's around 7 o'clock my time, all right, in the morning. This also happened at 7 o'clock my time, all right, so I think it's 5 or 6 hours difference to the East Coast right now. All right, that is the pattern right now, that the sell-off comes at that time, okay? Wednesday, obviously we sold most of Wednesday, but that is what they've done the last few days at least. So keep that in mind as well. How do I know? My kids get up that time, and I tell you, this algo is my least favorite algo that they run, and that is the one that starts selling when the kids get up. Okay, I'm gonna be on lookout if we go up Monday early and we haven't touched the gap. I do think we gap down though, because this move needs to be reflected in Europe and Asia, which would bring us to definitely open in this zone. Definitely. So we might even feel the gap Monday and then bounce out a bit, chug a little, CPI, go up, and then maybe CPI is bad and we go down and that level holds and we rise up. Then we got a bunch of earnings. Let me pull that up real quick. That earnings season has been complete and utter fuckery this time around, and it's been really hard, catching a move. But that's been all right to catch a move, but then holding that move has been ever so hard, because again, it's the market has been so toppy, it wants lower, right? Anyways, this is what we got this week. I wonder if we could catch it. BKNG or whatever that holdings company was. Palantir, Lucid, should have a crazy move. Don't know which way. Then we got Datadog. I mean, Tuesday we got 3 names that are close to my heart that I'll at least be watching. Trade Desk, whichever way it is, I'm just letting you know, TTD has crazy earnings moves. We got BABA. We also have Chinese inflation data on Wednesday. So this is going to be, I'd love to play it. I don't know if I can bring myself to play it because there's undoubtedly going to be a lot of volatility involved. Disney might actually have a good earnings. I mean, there's still got volume coming in. I mean, it's bled to death. I doubt they're going to use Disney to pop the market, but again, definitely has room for upside. As you can see, it hasn't. It's done a Carvana and has not recovered yet. And speaking of Carvana, I mean, we were watching this for a possible. Dude, this looked good for a Head and Shoulders, and then oh, there we go. Sell started and down we went hard, 45. So glad I got out of that. But it looked good. This should definitely go retest this level here. No doubt in my mind. I mean, if you can hold the 21, fantastic for it. This earnings season was plagued by everyone wanting to find a move like that never came unless you played, you know, ANET or BKNG or what have you. I hope that this video gives some clarity to what I'm watching this week on SpyQQQ and Apple and what vehicle they're going to use. Maybe they will continue to use Apple, but we'll find out. Chilling, waiting on some good confirmation this week will be key. Next week, our chart and all the data I am looking at is back to buying the dip. And every time this year I've said we're back in buying the dip, that has worked. So again, I'll be looking at when they start loading the dark pool. And also I wanted to show this. I actually spoke with Tradetix and I asked why was this so misleading, and they're like talked about a few things, but also I just wanted to highlight to you guys that this matters a lot too. So I'll be looking at that a lot. And obviously this was the big clue. But as you can see, again with the volume, they're buying these calls a lot for, you know, further out. So we are close to a bottom nevertheless. Can we undercut it? Yeah. So I wouldn't be sitting in stuff too much. You got to go into this week with a mindset of in and out, and then next week you can sit in stuff again once we've done this move. Because right now we don't know if we're here, here, or here. Right? There's a 3-day window here. So once this move happens and comes down and we know the retest level, we can start playing upside with sitting in it for a little bit and taking coffee breaks and not having to, you know, have a heart attack. Again, love yourself, love your family, keep putting out the good vibes. We got this. I'm pretty excited about this. And also, there's a lot of money coming in to this market very, very soon. So I'm pretty excited. Do know that, you know, we've called all of this very accurately, and we will continue to call this September and October. We just got to get through these 2 months, and then it's gonna be easier. Let me put it this way. September and October are I still don't have any white hair, guys, but you know, and I'm gonna try to make it to November without white hair. But one of these years they're gonna start popping up, and it's most likely gonna be in September or October. I want to see what they do here. If they can smack this down, this will give us the go signal for when to jump in this week. All right, guys, don't get cooked. We got this. Let's chill. And thank you for all the contributions, whether it's relating to astrology or calendars or other crazy events. All that stuff matters, and I cannot hammer away that point more. It's all cyclical patterns. That's all this stuff is, and it's very easy to lose sight of it when you're, you know, on the 5-minute chart in something that looks, like that, to forget all about it. So let's communicate on entries and exits this week and what we're thinking and why. All right. And clearly, if we hear anybody going bankrupt, let's jump on it. All right. Love you guys. I hope Monday comes around soon because we're going to have a pretty awesome week. All right. God bless.